Hello again and welcome back to our course on Excel 2019 Advanced. In this section we're going to take a look at surface charts, and surface charts are used to show the relationships between three variables. And I'm going to talk about a particularly good example of a surface chart in a moment. But the example I'm going to use here is one that plots a mathematical function. It's a function of x and y. The values of that function are in cells C3 to M13. The values of y are in column B. The values of x are in row 2. So let's select all of that data. Click on Insert. And I'm going to click on the little drop down in the corner to see all charts. And I'm going to select Surface and OK. And there it is. You have the X and Y values plotted on the floor of the chart, and the Z values, the values in the body of the table, are plotted vertically. Now, when you use surface charts, one of the problems with the three-dimensional nature of a surface chart is that it's not at all unusual for one or more of the axes to be the wrong way round. So you can't really see this surface chart very well. But if we change the y-axis to be the other way around, it might be a little bit easier to see. So what I'm going to do is select the axis. I'm going to right-click and say Format Axis. And you'll see the first option I have underneath Axis Options is Series in Reverse Order. And now my surface chart is much easier to see and understand. There are some other things you could do as well. So for instance, if you look at the Z values on the right, so where it says 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, watch what happens if I make the chart taller. Excel uses the dimensions to change not only the intervals on the axis, but also the color scheme that's used on the surface itself. I mentioned just now that I would point out a very useful application of surface charts, and one application that I've seen used a number of times is one that shows temperature over the surface of the Earth, so mean temperatures, where, for instance, in this case, the y-axis might be the latitude. So if a lower latitude is closer to the equator, in this case you will have generally higher temperatures, and in that case, X might represent the seasons of the year. So you would see how, although mean temperatures vary with the seasons of the year, generally speaking, they are higher closer to the equator. Now in that case, you might want to change the colouring of the surface here. Now in that case, let's go to the very highest range. Right-click and select Format Band. We'll open up Fill and we'll select Color, and I'm going to make that a dark red. Then I might select the next band and make that a slightly less red, and I could work my way down all the way to the bluest colors for the coolest temperatures. And in that way, I can very much customize the surface chart to the specific application to which I'm applying it. Now, there are some other very good options with surface charts. Let me just deselect the band there and go back to the Change Chart Type. And there is a wireframe 3D surface. So in this case, you lose the filled in color, but you can see the wireframe. That's often very useful when you want to see what's behind the surface chart. And another very useful option is the option to see it from above, so a contour chart essentially. And the contours indicate the height of the Z values, a bit like looking at a map with contour lines on it. So those are some of the options for surface charts. In the next section, we're going to look at radar charts, so I'll see you then.